Just look at these plagiarisms from the Bible in the Book of Mormon. You ready? Of course, we got the first 14, 2 through 14 chapters of Isaiah just copied and pasted into the Book of Mormon. Just read the verses side by side and you'll see that they are pretty much identical to one another. They claim that this is the case because supposedly the Nephites had the plates of Laban, which had the scroll of Isaiah in it, which is interesting since nobody wrote on plates that ever wrote scripture. It was always on a scroll. We're already through Isaiah 7 here. As you can see on the both sides, we are getting identical verses, if not very close to the same. Many people tell me, well, we have the references, at least in the Book of Mormon, for Isaiah. And yes, you can see those references to Isaiah in the Book of Mormon. But it also does not mean that Joseph Smith didn't just copy and paste them into the Book of Mormon just to make it look bigger. So what about Isaiah 48? Notice that Joseph Smith stopped with 14 and then he jumped to 48 and started putting those verses in the Book of Mormon also. And we got 48 all the way to 53, I believe. Some of these verses you'll see are smaller on the Bible side and bigger on the Book of Mormon side. So as you can see, there were fillers to even what the Bible said. I guess I was wrong. It went all the way to 54 in Isaiah. How interesting, huh? Then we have the Book of Malachi, where in 3 different verses in the Book of Mormon, it's pretty much a copy and paste from Malachi 1, Malachi 4, 1 and 2. And then we get to Matthew 3, which is not represented in the Book of Mormon as something quoted from. That's why we have a single verse. So how did it get there? If this was before its time. Matthew 5 is a copy and paste of the whole chapter. Matthew 6 is not. Well, actually, Matthew 6 is also a copy and paste of the full chapter. Supposedly, this is when Jesus came to America and spoke identically as he did when he was in Israel. And that goes all the way through chapters 7 in Matthew to 3 Nephi 14. Matthew 25, again we have Jesus speaking, and there's no reference to his quote at all in the 2nd Nephi, which is interesting. Jesus hasn't even come and they're already quoting from him. John 3 is also quoted as if they knew Jesus' words in the times of Mosiah. John 5, in the times of Helaman, Jesus is speaking. Helaman knows exactly what Jesus is saying in the future. Don't think so. 1 Corinthians 12, we hear about the gifts of the Spirit by the Apostle Paul. And from Moroni, which they didn't even know each other at all. We learn about charity, from Apostle Paul. From Moroni, supposedly Moroni knew about Paul. How fascinating. Got the Book of Mosiah. Speaking of Paul, Joseph Smith sure liked Paul's writings. As you can see there's a lot of them in the Book of Mormon. Then we get to Revelation. This is fascinating. And it talks about lake of fire in 2 Nephi 9:6, which is a copy of Revelation 14. Same kinds of things are happening in 2 Nephi 9:16 again to Revelation 20. This verse is a copycat of these 3 verses here of Revelation 22:11 too. Notice this one. These 2 verses represents this verse also. It talks about those who are unjust shall be unjust still, filthy shall be filthy still, those that are righteous shall be righteous still, and he that is holy shall be holy still. These are clickable, these references beneath. You can click them to get a full message on all of these plagiarisms in the Book of Mormon. Don't just take it from me, guys. Read the Bible, and you will understand that the things you have read, if you're a Mormon, in the Book of Mormon, is not what it appears to be. Okay, so we have plagiarism happening all over the place, and I'm just identifying 35 different chapters in the Book of Mormon that are plagiarized. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, and I have messages to back up each of these claims. Okay. Again, this website, Christianity versus Mormonism, is here to dispel the problems in Mormonism. And if there is real plagiarism happening in the Book of Mormon, then it's a big problem that people need to come to grips with. Okay? Don't just believe in a book that people claim to be a scripture, that claims to be another testament of Jesus Christ, when it could also have these plagiarisms from the Bible in it. Man, if it was scripture, why can't it just speak for itself in the time frame it was written, instead of having to just get all these verses from the Bible, verses that were even way after the time frame that it was supposedly copied and pasted in, with Jesus, especially Jesus' name popping in all over the place in the Book of Mormon. Those are the contradictions. But again, we're going to focus on the plagiarisms here. If you want to see the contradictions, that's another video. But I do hope you visit this page, the plagiarism page from Christianity versus Mormonism. If any of you want to resign from Mormonism, it's super easy. You just click on this button here on my site. It makes it super simple. I'll click it for you so you can see it. It brings you to quitmormon.com, and you can resign. All you need is your member ID, and that's as easy as that. Got these lawyers that will represent you. You don't have to be excommunicated. It's super simple. And God bless you all. Have a good night.